Right. So IT and society, that's not a very difficult, unit, is it or not?
It's okay, yeah.
Like, a kind of magazine you are reading,
Yeah.
yeah, and getting some general information. There isn't any technical things, more,
Yeah.
but kind of, yeah. So we
Yeah.
did last time, the learning outcome one. So it was based on some digital citizenship, the community and information concerns regarding the age, gender, and culture, then impact of IT on society, and social age groups, everyday life at home. So today is understand IT issues in society. To explain the significance of digital citizenship in society. What I believe that we discussed last time digital citizenship, right?
Yeah.
So this has literally, repeated, but obviously we will be going through, the indicative contents like social issues. Then issues includes the government role in information handling, cultural diversity as a success factor for IT, regional and national perception of IT, professional issues, shaping the future developments, internet penetration in our daily life, smart devices, social networks, managing data and information that we will be discussing now. So, LO2. Social issues is the header. So government role in information hiding. Yeah. So anything comes in your mind regarding the information while at your work?
Yeah. We have to be very careful about how we exchange data with third parties.
Yeah.
We have to make sure that when we send data out, it's encrypted. And it's because of the new GDPR rules that came in this year, wasn't it? I think it was, yeah. We've got to look at some of the way we store documents, and if we no longer deal with tenants, we have to remove their data. There's just lots more things now that have come out of it all, which we're currently working on.
Okay. When the new rule has come?
When did it?
Yeah. When that new instructions have come?
It was it in April or March? I can't remember now.
Okay. Okay. So like
It was sometime this year. I'm sure it was in April.
okay, there's a new rule called GD.
GDPR, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a EU based. Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the moment it is EU based until Brexit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So general data protection regulation, that's 2016 in EU, and that's definitely governing into EU. Yeah. However, the Data Protection Act on the government website is basically the one second. Yeah, it's basically also called as the Data Protection Act 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe different or the same meaning of certain terms used in the GDPR. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's same probably.
Yeah.
Okay, so let us see a quick overview of this. The Act makes provision about the process and personal terms. Okay, so previously, we have been listening about Data Protection Act. So this is kind of new name given to, okay, let us see. General data. Let us see that, is there any difference?
There's probably small changes, isn't there, between it?
Yeah, so that's not the one rule. What is the difference between GDPR? It is correct that the GDPR has been directly applicable law in the UK since 25th of May 2018. Yeah. In fact, the DPA 2018 performs three main functions. So they are basically, different. However, the GDPR is based on EU, it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so generally we are going to talk about, generally. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that how government, plays a role in information handling. Yeah. So for example, the Data Protection Act or GDPR controls how your personal information is used by organizations, businesses, or governments. Yeah, because it's a kind of social issue. Yeah, the data dealing of the data is a kind of social act. So that issue needs to be addressed very well. So every responsible for using personal data has to follow strict rules called data protection principles. They must make sure the information is used fairly, lawfully, and transparently. Probably, uh, today's these topics would be very much, related and interesting for you, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But let us see. You might know something new, because obviously this is being taught as a subject.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure yeah, most of it is probably, a lot of it, I think it's still the same really, but
Yeah.
they're just making a big deal about it where I work.
Yeah. So let us see, what the, tutorial says. So use fairly lawfully and transparently, use for specified explicit purposes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So specified and explicit purposes is basically that the main concern of this Data Protection Act is that it should be, correlated with specific, reasons and explicit reasons. So you should be very much, adhere strict to these rules. Yeah. That for example, can you do X? Can you do Y? Yes or no. There shouldn't
Yeah.
be any unclarity. Yeah.
Yeah.
For example, if a customer is asking you to give particular, information, asking any information, then you shouldn't be in a doubt that, okay, can you give him that information or not. It happens sometime, as customers ask, okay, can you tell me my previous, transaction, or can you tell me about someone else, transaction. It happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
The same thing even happen with us, like we as a customer, sometimes we ask the banks, unintentionally, we don't know that whether it comes into the data protection or not, but we try, and at the same time they refuse. You might have observed as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so used in a way that is adequate, relevant, and limited to only what is necessary. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for example, uh, even when you go to the shops, what when I ask someone, do you sell this, then say no, and their staff says, do you know where can I buy, where I can buy this, they say, oh, I'm not too sure, you try yourself. Have you, noticed it?
Yeah, I've noticed that before. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Even if it is a minor thing, but they try to avoid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they say like, so try to remain in the limits only.
Yeah.
Because obviously, for example, if you know, and you say you go buy from there, then that if you are, trying to, be unknown, it would be good. If you say buy from there, then the next question will be, do you know the address? Yes. So where they are? Over there. How they will be? So they would increase their burden, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, well, kept for no longer than is necessary. Like you said, the new instructions say something like that. Handled in a way that ensures appropriate security, including protection against unlawful or unauthorized processing, access, loss, destruction, or damage. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is stronger legal protection for more sensitive information such as race. One second. Yeah. Race, ethnic background, political opinions, religious beliefs, trade union membership, genetics, biometrics were used for identification, health, sex life or orientation. Basically, that they normally say that, that's a sensitive information, and, it remains, uh, confidential. But if that is the confidential, then do you think that then why they ask these questions?
Yeah. I don't know why they ask some of these questions. It shouldn't really matter, should it?
I mean, like I'm asking from you, yeah, that did you ever realize where most of the times, they say, they, for example, uh, they give a questionnaire when they apply. They say that we avoid any discrimination during the recruitment, but however, fill the following.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not. It kind of contradicts itself, doesn't it, in a way?
Yeah, yeah, like gender, the language, the ethnicity, they still ask.
Yeah, I don't know why they do it. I don't like doing it.
Yeah,
All those things shouldn't matter.
yeah,
You
but
can either
they
do
do
you,
ask.
you can either do the job or you can't.
Yeah, like means it should have been the case. They should never ask these questions, and but everywhere, like the they might have some other criteria, and well, leave this that's beyond our scope.
Yeah,
But that's an issue basically. If it is a
yeah, yeah,
kind of the home office, and related matters, yeah, and they need to put anyone on the like a key positions, maybe in security, intelligence, or me, yeah, then it makes a sense that they could ask anything. However, in
yeah,
very small jobs, even you go to the doctor and go for the uh, registration to the doctor, they have these questionnaires, isn't it?
yeah. They do. Yeah,
Well, let's go ahead. There are a separate safeguards for personal data relating to criminal convictions and offenses. Yeah. So obviously, like a data related with the DBS. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Have you had your DBS?
DBS.
DBS is basically the DBS checks,
Oh
disclosure
yeah,
and barrier service. Yeah.
yeah. No, I've never had to do that, but yeah,
Yeah. but that exists when you want to work with public, like in hospitals, schools, yeah, and where there can be any vulnerability, yeah, with any old people or young people, yeah. So DBS check is done. So DBS check is a kind of enhanced check maybe, yeah. So they safeguard uh, from anything, and these things are basically government controlled things, and government needs to control information of personnel for these purposes. So the issues with them is like issues in a general, that it is required by the government to handle such information very well, in order to obviously reduce any problems and make the information available for any purpose, for in any department, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, and your rights, for example, under Data Protection Act 2018, you have the right to find out what information the government and other organizations store about you. These include the right to be informed about how your data is being used, assess personal data, access personal data, have incorrect data updated, have data erased, stop or restrict the processing of your data portability, allowing you to get and reuse your data for different services. For example, credit checking, yeah. If you want to buy the new phone, then still your credit score is checked. They look at your, loan history, look at your banking record, and any of related, loans or lendings, whatever you do, they check it, isn't it?
Yeah. 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 Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, object to how your data is processed in certain circumstances, you also have the rights when an organization is using your personal data for automated decision making processes, and like credit checking,
Yeah.
yeah, profiling, for example, predict your behavior or interests. So anywhere, from the buying anything or getting any contract or getting into any of the uh, sector of security, wheresoever, you have the right to protect your data. You have to right not to disclose your data, but at some stages you cannot go ahead without giving the consent to them, isn't it?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the point. For example, I had the right when I wrote the dissertation of my PhD thesis. Then they asked that, do you want to make it public, straight away, or you want to make it public after 1 year? Yeah. So I opted to make it, public after 1 year, because the thesis, after writing the thesis, I was expecting to write some research papers from my research, and then I wanted to make it, public. So
Um,
all these things related, are governed basically, isn't it?
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Do you want to ask any question?
No, I just thought it was interesting that they gave you the option
Yeah.
to do it at different times. I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So like, at some point, as I explained, at some point you have the right to retain and, preserve the data, not to disclose the data. So these are the basically, even, yeah, the new law. Yeah. The new
Yeah.
law, another law states that it is not necessary to publicize your role into the department. Do you know about it?
Y- I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Y-
Yeah, like, in many organizations, uh, previously there used to be, that all employees should have been listed on the website, yeah, and their profiles should have been updated and something like that. But you have the right not to be the part of, a public information.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. We we had somebody at work recently who posted some photos on our website of staff,
yeah,
and she didn't have the permission from the staff.
yeah,
So they gave her the sack.
yeah, yeah,
They fired her because she broke the rules and stuff. She didn't get their permission. So yeah, they took it quite seriously.
yeah, yeah. So as I knew that, I don't remember the exact date and the name of that regulation, but there is a law that any employee, yeah, can opt to not to display,
Yeah.
yeah, any information at all publicly. And what
Okay.
I believe, because of that law, she was set.
Yeah.
So that's about the, government, how government deals with the, you know information handling. That is very much clear. So that's basically the part of IT, because IT is involved, some rules are involved, our society is involved, and regulations are involved. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the government has to take the, notice of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, cultural diversity is a success factor for IT. Yeah. So cultural diversity, the culture of any environment plays an important role in IT. Yeah. Not only in IT, almost in all fields. Culture plays a direct role in affecting the field. Do you agree?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
How?
It's the basically the whole thing of IT has
Yeah.
basically changed everything that we do, hasn't it? From everything from shopping, getting prescriptions, even going to the doctors. You have to have
No,
IT.
no. Basically,
Have I misunderstood this?
little bit. Yeah. Let me
Yeah.
finish this. It says culture of an environment predicts how the people of that are like or use things, and what are the ways to make things for them. Culture directly affect it, because different people of different regions think different. What type of interface of different regions want? What is the best way to target these users? How to meet specific people criteria for software? These all are very important for aspect of culture. So this means that, in IT, for example, if you have a team of, diverse culture, for example, if you have, uh, uh, some staff from Wales, for example, if you have
Okay.
got some staff from Scotland, yeah, if
Yeah.
you have some staff from, Ireland, yeah, and
Yeah.
couple of them from, Germany, yeah,
Yeah.
then if you would be working on a project which is to be used maybe not only in the UK but in Europe and as well as, globally, yeah,
Hmm.
then if one mindset, like a one culture would be developing or, doing anything related with the IT, then they may be limited. They may have a limited, information regarding the cultural, aspects. But multicultural, team or multicultural diversity would give a success factor for IT.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, I get that now. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So not only in any other fields, but even in the IT, the writer says that the cultural diversity in the IT is, helpful. So obviously, not only in the IT, but in the job recruitment, uh, you know, the UK law claims that there is no any discrimination, you know, uh, being accepted based on the culture, religion, and ethnicity, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Obviously, everywhere in the world in the modern society, so that kind of discrimination is not, encouraged.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, regional and national perceptions of IT. Perceptions are very important in IT, as everything is almost related to internet. So we cannot ignore regional and national perceptions. When we talk about regional, we should be very careful for all regions that we are targeting. Means we are not violating these rules or do not make anything that will have negative effect on them. Same case for nation. When we are making something that is related to specific nation, then we should not make anything that will hurt them. So we should be very careful while our development. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So regarding the IT, for example, if we look at the GDPR, the Rule of Data Protection Act, yeah, that is overall, governing into the EU as well as in individual countries.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they haven't made it, that much strict only for particular, any region. Yeah. But they have made it, regional as well as, national law.
Yeah. Okay.
So, for example, if it is the Brexit, yeah, then if the Brexit is hard, yeah, then may be good for UK, but may not be good for example, EU people. Or, for example, if UK is making a hard Brexit, then maybe they could get a divorce, but it could have the adverse effects on the you know people from UK who are settled abroad.
Yeah.
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 So any perceptions, any involvement of the uh, law or development. Yeah. So development in IT, development in rules, maybe development in policies. Yeah. It should have some effects on regional as well as national level.
Yeah.
Yeah. It should be suitable for regional and national level. Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are the issues basically, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like if you are trying to make a law, yeah,
Yeah.
if that is governing, for example, if you want to make it acceptable for UK only, for example, then you need to look at the EU as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
That it
Abs-
should comply with the EU as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. For now. Yeah.
Yeah. So these are the issues basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, what I believe that the current government is, is struggling to find a solution that how the law would, how the law should be made.
Yeah. Got what? Because of Brexit.
Yeah, because of the Brexit. Are you
Yeah.
listening to the news? Then what's going on, what's not going on, what would happen, what would not happen.
Um, sort of, yeah. It's going to happen now, isn't it? Because we voted to leave. So yeah, I don't really know, to be honest. I don't. I don't follow it too much. I don't like look every day, but if something comes up, I'll read it. Do you follow it quite a bit?
Not really. Just, I'm touching this topic because the raw law related things, needs to be considered not only, regionally, but nationally and internationally. Yeah. So one of the
Yeah.
good example of, conflicting interests, yeah, it is arising now. And
Yeah.
the good example is the Brexit, that how the lawmakers, would be making the law, the new law and the previous law, and what they would select indeed. Whether they would be considering the, bits from the EU law, or they would be, only selecting their own. And if they are trying to make it for their own, for example, then how it would affect, the EU people, yeah, and would it be sustainable or not? So
Mm.
these are the basically a kind of related, issues. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, can you must have heard about the ethics.
Yeah.
So do you know the difference between the law and the ethics?
Difference between the law and the ethics. The law is you have to do it, don't you?
Yeah, law is
So
mandatory and ethics is basically the voluntarily.
yeah.
Yeah. So most of the time we the legal things we do according to the law, and within the organizations, yeah, we behave according to ethics.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So code of ethics is the topic here. Establishing a code of ethics for information technology professionals encourages an IT workers to behave ethically and responsibly with the tools and information of which his employers have put him in control. So the standards, for example, a code of ethics document sets the standards for what is expected of the IT professional. It reinforces what is considered right and wrong by using verbiage such as always or never to be as clear as possible.
Hmm.
So like I said, you should know that whether you can do it or you cannot do it. Yeah, it should be
Yeah.
very clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Access a code of ethics reminds IT professionals that they are not to impede or manipulate pre-authorized access to the information or hardware of which they are in a control. So obviously we are talking basically the ethics. Yeah. So
Yeah.
ethically you should not access, even you are authorized, but you should not, manipulate the data without authorization.
Hmm.
For example, you are authorized to change the name, for example, yeah, but you
Yeah.
should do it after logging into, into the system, and by law, I mean, for example, you shouldn't use your system after 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. Prevention, a code of ethics helps prevent IT professionals from behaving in a malicious or harmful manner with company information and equipment. Yeah. So you should prevent your IT equipment as well.
Yeah. I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Um, is it against the law for an IT professional
Hmm.
to access somebody else's email without their permission?
Is it lawful to read any email?
Yeah. Yeah. Am I allowed to do that, or do I have to have permission from the person?
First of all, you know that the question arises that how you would access someone's email.
You to access. So what happens is I'll tell you what happens is when somebody's at work, when somebody's away,
Yeah.
I will get a request that says, there's a really important email that I need to
Yeah.
see, and it's in, we'll say, Steve's mailbox. Can I have access to Steve's mailbox?
Yeah. I can answer you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I always say, if you get the manager to authorize it, I will do it. However, is that within the law?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's fine. That answers my question.
Yeah. Definitely. Because uh, if because the purpose of email is to get communicated. Yeah.
Yeah,
And more specifically, if you are using an email, for example, Patrick at your company.co.uk, right?
yeah.
And the email address is owned by a company.
Mm.
Yeah. And the company has right, and yeah, there is more concern, like that if the manager has procedure, that if, for example, if you are the sales representative, yeah, or file handler, then the supervisor should have capacity to check your email, as well as the to hand over the case to anyone else as well.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for that. I
Yeah.
thought I thought it was, but I thought I'd ask you because you're going to know a lot more about this kind of thing than I would.
As long as you are representing the company, yeah,
Yeah,
and your email address is being represented, by the company, yeah. I mean, your email is only used for the company purpose. Then you can access it. However, there is, yeah, that's a good question.
mm.
Even in the emails from home office, when they send any notification, they write, this email has been sent for the intended purpose and the intended you know use. If you are not the recipient, then ignore it and delete it.
Mm.
The email disclaimer.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's also law governing this, but that's about the recipient. However, like you asked the question, that somebody is asking you that can you, uh, you know, uh, uh, reply me from the other, representative. Then obviously, if you have an access to his or her email, then how you would have an access? Obviously, the access to that inbox would have been given to you officially.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that's not a break of law, but definitely that would have been authorized.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you are authorized, yes, very good answer. Yeah. That if, for example, you have an access, you are an IT person. Yeah. If you have got an access to all of the emails, but you should make sure that your company should allow you to check it, as well to check it, as well as to respond. If you are not allowed, yeah, then you should make sure that whether you are allowed or not.
Yeah.
So you don't take any responsibility on your own. Take the permission from anyone else, and then you would be fine. In either
Yeah.
case, if you are allowed or not, but you should get a permission and confirmation.
Yeah, I always make sure I get permission.
Yeah. But obviously, how do you access? It means you have username and password for someone else, isn't it?
No, what you do is you go onto the Microsoft Exchange server
Yeah.
and you go into that person's account and you add the person in and they can read the content. You don't need the username and password.
Okay. Okay. But obviously, if you have an access to Microsoft Exchange server, it means you have been given the control in order to manage and monitor the Exchange server, but
Yeah.
not to disclose the any information without prior permission.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely follow the ethics, what the ethics are, and you need to do accordingly.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
ethics basically, like that why this is it. This is ethics. This is ethics because if it was the law,
Mm.
then no other uh, employee can access to anybody else, male or eligible to reply someone. This would have become, law. If that was the law, then, nobody could disclose it. But
Yeah.
ethics vary from person to, from, organization to organization. They are voluntarily agreed, the actions to be performed.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So exceptions exist into ethics, and ethics are being made, as friendly as possible in order for the volunteer, betterment.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So let me move a little bit more. IT professional culture. Culture sets our values and norms. It is a way of thinking that determines our behaviors, decisions, actions, and knowledge. Technology transfer or integration are basically the exchange of knowledge, know-how, and skills through which technology was created and on which its use depends. Culture is deeply rooted in ourselves. We are usually unaware of its influence on our professional activity. Cultures are diverse and their encounter through technology exchange triggers conflicts that are expressed in objective terms. We need to detect and resolve those conflicts at the right level, i.e., the cultural level, instead of only focusing on the visible obstacles to deployment of telematics applications. Basically, the IT professional should have, concerns about the culture as well.
Mm.
Yeah. So professionally, you are an IT professional. Yeah.
Mm.
But the way, it's a way of thinking that determines our behavior, decision, actions, and knowledge. Yeah. So that exchange of knowledge and skills, uh, varies from culture to culture. Yeah.
Mm.
Because that is rooted in ourselves. Yeah. So you should also, value the culture.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So it shouldn't be the case, one second. Okay. Well, let me go to the next.
Are you free tomorrow night?
Uh, I'm not sure, but today is Monday. Would it be fine if we continue the, next 5, 7 slides in the third section, which is, the again legislation and, the third learning outcome. Do you want me to, end this session now?
Yeah. But should we do what? Should we continue on Wednesday or?
Yeah, Wednesday would be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. I'll see you then.
Yeah, that's fine. So we end this session and we will cover, let me see, IT professional culture, and we will continue from here, and we'll cover, the 30 slides from the third learning outcome as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. See you on Wednesday. Yeah.
Yep. See you Wednesday. Thanks.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.